Crash in the dark. Darkness. Smoke. Fire. The ship was falling fast. Pieces of metal broke off as it hit the trees. A loud crash shook the forest. Birds flew away. The ground burned hot. Inside the wrecked ship, a young alien girl slowly opened her eyes. Her head hurt. Her arm was bleeding. Sparks flew above her as wires snapped. She didn't know where she was. She didn't even know her name. All she could feel was pain and fear. Her body was weak. Her leg was trapped under part of the ship. She pushed hard. A sharp pain shot through her side, but she did not stop. With a loud scream, she pulled her leg free. The moment she crawled out, the ship exploded behind her. She fell to the ground, coughing. Her eyes looked at the dark forest around her. The sky above was strange, 2 moons and green clouds. It was not Earth. It was not home. But where was home? She touched her head. There was a metal ring around it, broken, with a red light blinking. Was it controlling her? Tracking her? Suddenly, she heard a sound. Crack. Snap. Footsteps. Her heart raced. She quickly crawled behind a fallen tree. Her breathing was loud. Too loud. She saw a shadow between the trees. Tall. 2 legs. A person. She stayed still, not moving, not blinking. The shadow came closer. The figure stepped into the moonlight. It was a man, a human man. He wore a dark jacket, had a beard, and carried a metal bag and a small light. He looked around the crash site carefully. His eyes moved fast. He seemed trained, like a soldier or a survivor. He walked slowly, scanning the wreckage. Then he stopped. His eyes narrowed. He saw the blood on the ground. He followed it. The girl's heart beat faster. She picked up a sharp rock. She didn't know how to fight, but she had to try. Suddenly, the man stopped. "I know you're there," he said, in a deep but calm voice. "I'm not here to hurt you." She didn't move. "I saw the crash," he continued. "I came to help. If you want help, come out." Still, she waited. The man slowly placed his light on the ground and raised both hands. "No weapons," he said. "See silence." Then, very slowly, the girl stood up. She was shaking. Dirt and blood covered her face. Her eyes were large and strange, glowing faint blue. The man looked surprised, but not afraid. "You're not from here," he said softly. She didn't speak. "What's your name?" She opened her mouth, tried to speak. Nothing came. "I don't know," she whispered. The man nodded slowly. "Okay, we'll figure it out." He walked closer, carefully. "My name is Ray. Ray Walker. I'm human, from Earth. You crashed near my camp." She took a step back. "It's all right," he said. "You're hurt. Let me help." He kneeled and took out a small kit. He opened a bottle and poured water on her cut. She winced in pain but didn't move. "You've got a deep wound," he said. "Not infected yet. You're lucky." She looked into his eyes. He was serious, but kind. Ray wrapped a cloth around her arm. "There, that's better." She looked at the fire in the distance. Her ship was burning. The only thing she had was gone. She whispered, "They'll come." "Who?" Ray asked. She shook her head. "Bad ones. They're looking for me." Ray stood up. "Then we need to move." He helped her stand. She limped, but with his help, she walked. As they moved deeper into the forest, Ray asked, "Can I call you something?" She looked confused. "Just until you remember your name," he said. She paused, then nodded. He smiled. "How about Nova?" She thought for a moment, then smiled faintly. It sounded right. "Nova," she repeated. They walked together, her steps slow, his eyes watching the shadows. Then, a strange noise echoed behind them, a loud shriek. Metal grinding. Nova's eyes widened. "They're close." Ray pulled out a small plasma gun. "Let them come," he said. Nova looked at him, a stranger, but maybe her only hope. In the darkness behind him, glowing red eyes appeared. They had found her. The wind moved slowly through the dark trees. Leaves whispered. The forest held its breath. Ray and Nova ran through the shadows, side by side. Her leg hurt with every step, but she didn't stop. She could hear them behind metal feet, grinding and fast. The hunters. Ray pulled her behind a large stone. "Quiet," he whispered. They waited. Silence. Then the sound of footsteps fading away. Ray let out a breath. "We lost them. For now." Nova nodded, her glowing eyes still wide with fear. Her skin was pale, and her arms shook. She was strong, but she was also tired. Broken. "We'll rest soon," Ray said, gently helping her up. "My camp's not far." They walked in silence. Nova looked around. eyes scanning everything. Every tree, every sound, every shadow. The forest felt alive, but not friendly. Finally, they reached a small hill. At the top was a hidden entrance. Ray tapped a code into a metal box, and a door opened, revealing a small underground shelter. It was warm inside. A tiny light blinked on. There was food, water, and a bed made of soft cloth. "Welcome to my hideout," Ray said. Nova stepped inside. Slowly, she looked at the walls. They were made of old ship parts and broken tech. Everything here was built from scrap. "You live here?" she asked. Ray nodded. "Been here 2 years. Got stuck after my team left. Why didn't you go back?" He smiled sadly. "Couldn't. Ship broke. And ... Earth forgot about me." Nova sat down. Her body relaxed, but her eyes stayed alert. Ray gave her a cup of clean water. She drank it fast. He handed her a protein bar. She bit it like she hadn't eaten in days. He watched her quietly. "You're not just an alien," he said. Nova paused. "You have human features. The eyes, the hands. Something's different about you." She looked down at her fingers. "I don't remember. I woke up in pain." In fire, Ray sat across from her. "Do you remember anything before the crash?" She closed her eyes. Bright room. Cold voices, like machines. I was lying down. They were doing something to me. "Who were they?" She opened her eyes. "I don't know. I just know. I ran away, and they're coming to take me back." Ray leaned forward. "You said they. Who are they?" Nova whispered. "Hunters. Machines. Like dogs. But metal. They don't stop." Ray frowned. "Yeah, I've seen them before. They don't belong to this planet. I think they're tracking tech. Once they find a signal, they never let go." Nova touched the broken ring on her head. They used this to control me." Ray looked closer. "It's part neural link, part tracker. No wonder they found you." He stood up, opened a drawer, and pulled out a small tool. "I can disable it fully, but it might hurt." Nova didn't hesitate. She nodded. Ray took the tool and carefully worked on the ring. Sparks flew. Nova gritted her teeth, her hands clutching the bed. One final click. The ring fell off. Nova gasped. A wave of pain passed through her head, and then silence. A strange, peaceful silence. "It's done," Ray said. Nova breathed slowly. "Thank you." Ray smiled. "You're free now." She looked at the ring on the floor. "Burned dead. Why are you helping me?" Ray looked at her. "Because I know what it feels like, to be left behind." Nova didn't answer, but something in her eyes softened. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A warning beep echoed in the shelter. Ray rushed to the panel. "They're scanning nearby. We have maybe 10 minutes. Nova stood up. "I can run." "You shouldn't. You're still weak." She looked at him. "I won't let them take me again." Ray paused. "Then we don't run. We fight." He opened a case. Inside was a plasma pistol and a small energy shield. He gave her the shield. "Just press the center. It'll protect you for a few seconds." She took it. "What about you?" "I've got this," Ray said, loading his pistol. Nova stared at the door. Her heartbeat was steady now. Then, a flash. The metal door exploded. Open. Smoke filled the room. Red lights blinked. 2 robotic hunters walked in. Tall, with sharp arms and glowing red eyes. They scanned the room and locked eyes on Nova. Ray fired first. The blast hit one hunter in the chest. Pushing it back, Nova pressed the shield button. A blue field appeared in front of her, just as the second hunter struck. Sparks flew. She jumped forward and grabbed the first hunter's arm. As it swung, her hand glowed faint blue. A pulse of energy burst from her palm. The hunter dropped dead. Ray finished the second one with a shot to the head. Silence returned. Nova stood still, breathing hard. Ray stared at her. Your hand, that energy, what was that?" Nova looked at her palm. It was still glowing faintly. "I don't know," she said. "But it's waking up." The smoke hadn't cleared yet. The 2 dead machines lay on the shelter floor, sparking and still. Nova stood in silence, her hands still glowing, her eyes locked on the strange power in her skin. Ray watched her carefully. "You've never done that before." Nova shook her head. "Not like that. It just happened." Ray lowered his weapon. "Whatever it is, it saved us." Nova looked down at her palm. It felt angry, but also alive. Ray walked over to the dead hunter and crouched down. "These aren't basic machines. Look at this wiring, biometal. Half-living tech. Someone built them to hunt things like you." Nova stared at the metal shell. It still twitched. "They're not finished." Suddenly, the lights flickered again. Ray stood up. There are more coming. A lot more. Nova nodded. Then we leave. They gathered supplies quickly. Food, a small power cell, and 2 old signal blockers. Ray strapped on a bag. Nova grabbed the shield again. And they climbed out into the cold night above them. The stars blinked like silent watchers. But something felt wrong. The forest was too quiet. They walked through the trees, following a narrow path lit only by moonlight. Nova's limp was lighter now, but every step still ached. She didn't complain. Ray kept his eyes moving. He scanned every shadow. Then he stopped. "Don't move," he whispered. Nova froze. "What is it?" He pointed ahead. Trip lines. Tiny, silver wires stretched between 2 trees. Barely visible. "Hunter traps," he said. "They know we're running." Nova stepped back slowly. "So they're thinking now." Ray frowned. "Or someone's controlling them." He pulled out a tiny blade and cut the wires. "No sound. No alarm. Keep low," he whispered. "They might be watching." They moved slower now, ducking under branches and stepping carefully. The air was thick with tension. Something watched them. They could feel it. Then came the noise. A distant hum. Growing louder. Ray turned. Drones. Nova looked up. 3 flying machines shot through the sky. Scanning with red lights, they dove into the bushes. The drones passed overhead, their lights cutting through the trees. Nova's heart pounded. 1. Light stopped. It turned back. Ray cursed. "Run." They broke cover, racing through the woods. The drone shot at them. Blue plasma blasts hit the ground behind them. Ray fired back, hitting one drone. It exploded mid-air. The other 2 followed. Nova grabbed a branch and swung herself into the trees. Ray followed, climbing fast. They jumped from branch to branch, staying hidden in the dark leaves. The drone scanned below, but couldn't find them. After a few minutes, the machines left. Ray sat on a thick branch, breathing hard. That was too close. Nova looked around. "They're pushing us somewhere." Ray nodded. "Yeah, hurting us." He pointed ahead. In the distance, a strange glow came from behind the trees. Pale blue light. Nova frowned. "What is that?" Ray pulled out a scope and looked. His eyes narrowed. "An old ship," he said. "Crashed years ago. I saw it once. Never went near." Nova asked, "Why not?" Ray hesitated. "Because things don't stay dead in that place." Nova didn't blink. "We go there." Ray looked at her like she was crazy. "You sure?" She nodded. "If they want us away, then maybe the truth is in there." They climbed down and made their way toward the glow. The closer they got, the colder it became. The trees thinned out, and finally, the crashed ship came into view. It was huge, broken in half, covered in moss and roots. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its side. Ray stared. "That's not human tech." Nova walked slowly toward it. Her fingers touched the hull. Suddenly, her mind flashed a memory. Bright lights. She was lying in a tank. Voices spoke in another language. A face looked down at her. A man. Human. But his eyes were dark and cold. She stepped back, shaking. "I've been here before." Ray turned. "What do you mean?" "I saw this in my memory. This is where they made me." A loud noise broke the silence. From behind the ship, 3 more hunters walked into view. Ray lifted his gun. Back inside the ship, they ran into the wreck, through a cracked doorway. Inside, it was dark and full of dust. Wires hung from the ceiling. Dead lights blinked. The hunters followed, but moved slowly. "Careful. They don't want to damage the ship," Nova said. "Something in here is important." Ray threw a flash grenade. The light blinded the hunters. Nova saw a glowing door ahead. She ran to it and pressed her hand on a scanner. It opened, inside a small room, full of tubes. One of them had something inside, a frozen body. Female, almost like Nova. Ray stared. "Is that another one of you?" Nova whispered. "No, that's me." Ray turned. "What?" Nova looked at the frozen body, her hands shaking. "I'm a copy." A cold wind moved through the broken ship. Nova stood still, staring at the glass tube. Inside, the frozen body didn't move. Pale skin, blue veins, same face, same hair, same eyes. It was her, or something that looked just like her. Ray stepped beside her, silent. He didn't speak. He didn't know how Nova touched the glass. It was icy. "She's me," she whispered, "but not me." Ray looked around. The room was full of old machines. Many were broken, but some still hummed with power. Symbols glowed on the walls. Alien language mixed with human code. This place was a lab, he said. A hidden one. Maybe underground before it crashed. Nova stared at the face behind the glass. She's still alive. Just frozen. Ray looked at the data panel near the tube. It says, Project NX-21... Version 01. Nova looked confused. Then who am I? Ray touched her shoulder. Maybe you're version 02. Suddenly, her mind burned. A sharp flash like fire behind her eyes. She fell to her knees, clutching her head. Ray rushed to her. Nova, but she couldn't hear him. Her mind was somewhere else. In a memory. Bright lights. Cold metal. She was floating in liquid. A man's voice said, activate the sequence. Pain shot through her chest. A strange energy filled her. She screamed, but no sound came. The man said, she's not stable. Another voice answered, try again. Version 01 failed. Start version 02. The memory faded. Nova gasped, her eyes wide with shock. They made us. One after another, she said. The first version failed. I am the second. Ray helped her up. They didn't make you to be free, Nova. They made you to be used. Nova looked at her glowing hand. That's why I'm different. Why I feel broken. Ray shook his head. No, that's why you're stronger. Footsteps echoed from the hallway. Ray raised his weapon. They're coming. Nova stood up. Stronger now. Let them. The first hunter entered, scanning the room. Then the second behind them. A third figure appeared. Not a robot. A man. Tall. Human. Wearing a black coat with silver lines. His face was cold and calm. Nova's breath caught him. Re-aimed. Who are you? The man stepped forward, ignoring the gun. My name is Dr. Riven, lead scientist of Project NX. Nova stepped forward too. You made me. He nodded. We created you. To save Earth. By turning me into a weapon. She asked. By building hope, he replied. Human DNA was weak. Alien DNA was wild. Together, you were our future. Nova stared at him. Then why did you leave me? To die, Dr. Riven sighed. You escaped before we were ready. You're unstable. Dangerous. Ray fired a warning shot. Back off. Riven looked at him. You're the traitor. Captain Ray Walker. You stole project files and ran. Ray smiled. And now I'm stealing your success. Riven nodded to the hunters. Take them alive. The hunters moved fast. Ray fired. One went down. Sparking. Nova raised her hand. A burst of energy shot forward, blasting another. The third jumped at her. She ducked, rolled, and hit it with her shield. It cracked, but didn't stop. Ray ran toward the panel near the frozen tube. Nova, he shouted. This panel can overload the power. Nova nodded. She jumped toward him, dodging the hunter's blade. Riven shouted, no. Ray hit the command. The lights turned red. Alarms screamed. The floor shook. Let's go. Ray grabbed Nova's hand. They ran through the hallway as the lab behind them exploded in fire. The glass tube shattered. Smoke followed them like a wave. They burst outside into the forest. The night air burned with heat. The ship behind them went up in flames. Nova fell to her knees, gasping. Ray knelt beside her. You okay? She nodded slowly. Yes, I feel clearer. Ray looked at her. What did you remember? Nova stared at the fire. I was born in fire. Pain. I'm not human, not alien. I'm something in between. Ray asked. And what do you want now? Nova's eyes glowed faint blue. I want to know the truth. Why they made me. Who they made me from. Ray looked at her, his face serious. We'll find it. Together. Suddenly, a strange sound came from above. A drone hovered overhead, but it didn't attack. Instead, it dropped something, a small metal cube. It landed in front of Nova and opened. A voice played. It was Riven. You can destroy my labs, Nova. You can run with this man, but you cannot escape what you are. Nova stared at the cube. You are not free. You are property. And your creators are not done with you. The message ended. Ray kicked the cube. He's bluffing. Nova didn't blink. No, he's warning me. Ray looked at her. Then what do we do next? Nova stood up. We find where I really came from. And we burn it all down. The morning light touched the forest. Smoke still rose behind them, where the ship lab had burned through the night. The trees were quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that came after something dangerous had passed, but not far. Nova walked ahead, Ray followed. They hadn't spoken much since the message, since Riven said, you are property. The words still echoed in Nova's mind like poison. But she wasn't just running anymore. She was searching. Ray finally spoke. Where are we going? Nova kept her eyes forward. The answer is buried. Buried. Where? She stopped and looked at the sky. Not far. When I touched that lab, something unlocked. I saw more memories. A desert, a bunker, and a door with a triangle symbol. Ray frowned. You think it's real? Nova looked at him. No, it is, he nodded. Then let's find it. By midday, they reached the edge of the forest. A wide open wasteland stretched ahead. Dry dirt. Cracked rocks. Dust in the wind, Nova pointed. There. That hill. Ray raised an eyebrow. You sure? Nova nodded. It's not a hill, it's a cover. They walked across the dead land until they reached it. The hill was smooth, too perfect. Ray tapped it with his boot. Hollow. Nova ran her hand along the surface, searching. Finally, her palm rested on a faint shape. A triangle, just like in her memory. She pressed it. A small click echoed. The ground shook slightly. A hidden door slid open with a hiss, revealing stairs going down into darkness. Ray pulled out his flashlight. Ladies first. Nova smirked. Always. Inside, the air was cold. The lights on the wall were still working. Dim but alive. Old tech. Very old. Dust covered everything. The hallway led them into a wide room. Rows of consoles lined the walls. Screens blinked to life as they entered, reacting to Nova. Ray looked around. This isn't just a lab. Nova stared at the walls. It's where I was born. She walked to a console. A screen flickered. Project. NX Master Silhouette. A blinking button. Access DNA logs. Nova hesitated. Ray stepped beside her. You don't have to. I do, she said. She pressed the button. Lines of code appeared. Then images. Cells. Structures. Charts. Then 2 photos. One, a man. The other, a woman. Ray leaned in. Those are your DNA donors. Nova stared at them. The woman was alien. Soft blue skin. Long, dark hair. The man was human. Ray's eyes widened. That's General Soren Walker. From the Mars program. Nova blinked. Walker. Ray stepped back slowly. That's my father. Silence. Nova looked at him. You're not just a lost soldier. Ray nodded slowly. No. I knew my father worked on secret projects. But not this. Nova turned to the screen again. Your father helped make me. Ray looked stunned. Then that means you and I. Nova shook her head. Not siblings. I'm not born. I'm built. Ray didn't argue. Still. It connects us. Nova's voice was cold. No. It makes me a weapon they wanted to control. She turned and walked deeper into the base. Ray followed. They reached a second chamber. This one was sealed with a heavy metal door. Nova stepped forward. The scanner read her. Access GRNT. The door opened. Inside was a giant machine. Wires, tanks, energy cells, and in the center, a tall chair with armrests and a crown-like headpiece above it. Nova stepped in slowly. Her eyes locked on the chair. I've seen this before, she whispered. Ray looked around. What is it? Nova touched the machine. It's how they tested me, pushed my powers, trained me. Ray picked up a tablet nearby. It still worked. Program name, Fusion Protocol, he read aloud. Purpose, to merge human control with alien energy. Nova turned. They built me to be a living key, a power source, a weapon they could sit in and drive. Ray's jaw tightened. That's why they need you back. Nova stepped onto the platform. Then let's finish this. Ray shouted, wait, it could kill you. Nova sat down. The machine lit up. Her body shook as energy filled the room. The headpiece lowered slowly. Flashes of memory hit her training rooms. Energy fields, pain chambers, screaming voices. Her hands glowed bright. The machine started to burn. Ray ran forward and yanked the power cable. Sparks flew. The machine shut down. Nova collapsed. Ray caught her. She opened her eyes slowly. I saw it, everything. What did you see? Ray asked. Nova breathed heavily. Where the final lab is. The main base. Where they built the others. Ray helped her sit up. Others. Nova nodded. I'm not the only version left. Outside, a rumble shook the ground. Ray looked at the stairs. They found us. Nova stood, still weak but determined. Then let's go finish this, she said. Ray gave her a weapon. Side by side. Nova smiled. To the end. It was raining ash. Not snow. Not dust. But black. Soft ash falling from the clouds like the sky itself was burning far away. Nova watched it fall. She stood at the edge of a cliff. The hidden base behind her, the broken world ahead. Her hands still glowed faintly. Her mind burned with everything she had just learned. She was not special. She was not chosen. She was designed. Ray stepped beside her, quiet. He had been silent since she told him about the others, the other versions. Still alive, still hidden. His voice, when it came, was heavy. How many? Nova didn't look at him. At least 5, maybe more. Ray asked. All like you. She shook her head. No, stronger, deadlier. Some failed, some didn't. And the main lab. Nova pointed to the far mountain, barely visible through the ash. It's there, buried under stone. They called it the vault. That's where the final copies are. Ray gripped his weapon. Then that's where we go. Nova turned to him. Ray, are you with me, because of me, or because your father built me? Ray froze. He looked at her, pain in his eyes. I don't care who made you. You saved me, and I chose you. Nova stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. Good, because it's time we ended this. They traveled for hours across dead ground. The sky turned gray, the wind colder. As they reached the mountain, Nova felt a strange pull in her body, like magnets in her bones. She was getting closer to something, or someone. They found the entrance, sealed, no lights, no guards. Ray whispered, too quiet. Nova placed her hand on the stone wall. The triangle symbol appeared again. A scanner read her. Access granted. Welcome. NX-21. The wall slid open. They stepped inside. The vault was massive. A cold underground maze of metal and glass. Labs, hallways, dark chambers. Strange machines hummed softly in the walls, like a sleeping beast. Then they heard it. Voices, human voices. Nova and Ray moved quietly through the halls. Following the sound, they reached a room. Inside stood Dr. Riven. He was speaking to a screen, showing images of the world beyond. We are losing time, he said. The other factions are already building their armies. Our hybrids must be ready soon. A woman replied on the screen. And what of NX-21? She is returning, Riven said. Willingly or not. Nova stepped forward. You were right. Riven turned slowly. He didn't look surprised. You came, he said calmly. Alone. Ray stepped out behind her. Not alone. Riven smiled. Ah, the traitor. Ray raised his weapon. End this now. But Riven didn't flinch. You still don't understand. This isn't about control. It's about survival. Earth is dying. The stars are full of enemies. These hybrids, your Nova, are the future. Nova said, I'm not your future. I'm your failure. You were the best of them, Riven said. But not the last. He stepped aside. Behind him, a door opened. Another girl stepped out. She looked like Nova, but taller, colder. Eyes glowed red, not blue. Version 03, Riven said proudly. Perfect, stable, loyal. Nova took a step back. No. Version 03 spoke. You are obsolete. NX-21. Ray aimed, but too late. Version 03 moved fast, faster than Nova, and knocked the gun from his hand. Nova blocked her next strike. The two clones crashed into each other, fists glowing. Energy cracking the floor. Ray dived for his gun. Riven hit a control panel. A cage slammed down between them. Trapping Ray. Nova shouted. Ray. He hit the bars, but they held tight. Smiled. You don't understand what you are, Nova. You were never meant to survive. You were meant to teach us. He pointed at 03, is the result. Nova growled. Then I'll teach her how to lose. The fight began again. Nova ducked, kicked, blasted a pulse from her hand. 3 matched every move. They were mirrors. Twins in war. Ray shouted. The panel. Behind you. Nova rolled. Hit the panel with a blast. Sparks flew. The cage dropped. Ray was free. He grabbed a metal rod and threw it like a spear. It hit 03's leg. She stumbled. Nova charged her, palms glowing brighter than ever, and hit 03 with a blast of pure energy. The walls cracked. 03 fell back. Unconscious. Riven stepped away, stunned. You evolved. Nova breathed hard. No. I remembered who I am. She walked to him. End this, Ray said. Riven raised his hands. She's just the start. We could still build. Nova didn't wait. She raised her hand. A final burst of light. Everything went silent. Later, in the forest, the mountain smote behind them. The vault was gone, buried forever. Ray sat beside Nova at a small fire. He could have kept her alive, he said. Nova looked at the sky. I wanted to, but I saw what she would become. Ray nodded. So, what now? Nova stood slowly. I was made to follow, she said. Now I choose. She looked down at Ray. You coming? He smiled. Always. And together, they walked toward the stars. The stars above were quiet. Nova stood on a cliff, looking out at the sky. The burned mountain behind her was silent now. A grave for the past. For the vault, for the versions before her. The air was cool. Clean. For the first time, she could breathe without feeling hunted. Ray sat nearby, fixing his gear. His jacket was torn, his hands scraped, but his eyes were calm. He glanced up at her. You've been standing there a while, he said. Nova didn't move. I'm listening to what he asked. She closed her eyes. Everything. The wind, the stars, myself. Ray stood and joined her. You did it, Nova. You ended it. Nova opened her eyes. No, I ended them. But the story they started, that's still alive. Ray looked confused. You're free now. You can disappear. Nova shook her head. That's what they wanted me to do. Be a ghost. A secret. But I'm done hiding. She turned to him. I want to be seen. I want the world to know I exist. Ray crossed his arms. You sure that's what you want? When people find out what you are, they might be afraid. She nodded. Then let them be. They traveled west. Nova walked through cities ruined by time and silence. Old human settlements, abandoned during the colony wars. She found lost records, broken terminals, pieces of a world she was never part of, but somehow connected to Dot in one city. A group of survivors saw her. A child stared at her glowing hands. Are you a hero? The child asked. Nova knelt. No, but I'm trying to become one. Word began to spread, not fast, but quiet and steady. A girl with glowing hands. A hybrid who saved a mountain. A walking secret who fights for no one but the truth. Some feared her. Some followed. One night, by the fire, Ray handed her a tablet. It's from the network, he said. Someone uploaded files from the vault. DNA logs, clone records, and Nova looked. Her own face stared back. Ray continued. It's out now. The world knows who you are. Nova studied the screen. She didn't feel fear, only clarity. They'll come for me, she said. Ray nodded. Maybe, but maybe they'll come to you. Days passed, then weeks. One morning, a ship appeared in the sky. Not a drone, not a hunter, a real human rescue vessel. It hovered above the plains and landed with dust swirling around it. Nova and Ray approached carefully. A woman stepped out. She wore an old Earth Federation coat. Her voice was calm. My name is Commander Lee. I've read your file, Nova. Nova said nothing. Lee continued. We were told to bring you in. But after what I've seen, I think the world needs to hear from you, not control you. Nova raised an eyebrow. You're not here to cage me. No, Lee said. I'm here to offer you a choice. Inside the ship, Nova saw Earth again, not in person, but on the screen. Blue, broken, beautiful. She stared at it for a long time. Ray stood beside her. You ever wonder what it would have been like if you were just born there? Normal. Nova shook her head. No, because then I wouldn't be me. Ray smiled. That's the right answer. Commander Lee returned. We're going back to Earth, but we want you to speak to the Council. Tell your story. Tell what happened. Help others like you. Nova paused. Then she asked, and if I say no? Lee shrugged. Then we drop you wherever you want. You're not a weapon anymore. You're a person. Nova looked at her glowing hands. I'm more than a person, she said, but I'll still speak. Not for them. For the ones they silenced. Lee smiled. Then welcome aboard, Nova. Back on Earth, the world watched. Nova stood before leaders, cameras, and billions of eyes. No guns, no chains. Just truth. I was made in a lab, she said, voice calm. Not born, built, designed to fight, to follow, to serve. She raised her hand. It glowed softly. But I am not a machine. I dream, I feel, I choose. The room was silent. I am Nova. I am not the future you planned. I am the future that broke free. She stepped down from the stage. Some clapped, some cried, some left in fear. But she had spoken. And that was enough. Later, in a quiet garden, on Earth, Nova sat with Ray. Birds flew above. Real birds, not drones. The sky was blue for once. Ray asked, so what now? Nova smiled. I think I live. Ray chuckled. That's it. That's everything. She looked at the sun. For the first time, it didn't burn her. It warmed her. The girl who was once a weapon was now a light.